Hello, hello. Welcome to this special edition of Everything is Crashing. Give it a sec for people to join. All right, lots to go over. We'll go through some charts first, and then we'll figure out what we want to do here. Okay, first things first, the Qs are opening up right on their put wall. The put wall is 720. The way that I see this is we have a deep undercut here of this downward trend line. Closing above it for a couple days, looked good. Now we're right here. So I think it's going to double tap and then kind of go back up. But you have a high probability setup right now where it'll likely roll over after open. So let's see if this works out, where I think we get a small bounce at open. Probably comes up here, fills, maybe even fills this gap. I don't know if it does actually. But comes up here, rejects at 725, 726, and it kind of rolls back over. So that's what I see across the board, whether that's SPY, Q, SPX, Micron, name it. It all looks the same at this point in time. And so if the market's going to sell, it's going to sell basically everything. Doesn't matter if it's a hedge, a commodity, things that have really good earnings, doesn't really matter. All I see that is they're just going to do this at open and then kind of roll back over. Now there's a strong chance that we hold here, or not a strong chance, but there's a small chance rather, that we hold at 769, 770, because that's the put wall right now, 770. And above that, it'll just kind of grind higher to 773 before coming back down. So you're technically on the 4-hour, 15-minute, you're making lower lows right now, and you're making lower highs, but it's still on the daily looking like it's higher lows, but a lower high, if that makes sense. So let's see what we get, but I do think you're going to pump it open a little bit, not a lot, because I don't think it's going to be a lot of volume, and then kind of roll back over towards 767, 768 kind of area. I drew this trend line yesterday. It was on the 4-hour, 15 minutes, kind of the same. But we had a lot of selling after hours. I wasn't expecting this. I don't think anyone was. But this just continued selling. This is more than 45 degrees at this point in time. So whoever bought, over the last couple of weeks, at this point in time is just saying, hey, we're getting the hell out. I really want to see how it reacts down here, to be honest, because we've bounced from this area multiple times. Like I think this was last week, we bounced from there and came back up and then started setting up higher lows at the very least. So I want to see if this area holds. If it does, you're likely going to go bounce back up and then see if we reject tomorrow or later in the day. So that's what I see on SPY and QQQs, the exact same story. Micron, we have this downward trend line. The call wall is 1,000, I believe, and the put wall is 950. So below 950, like this is going to go back to like 840 pretty quickly. So I do like the risk and reward on puts. My only pause right now is if this area holds, which it actually might, because we're back at Friday's lows. And then you're likely going to bounce up and maybe take care of this gap here before rolling over. I'm just going to observe. I don't have to rush into anything, and you don't either. Let the building burn down, and then we'll figure out what we want to do afterwards, because I'd rather not be first here, because pioneers in most cases get slaughtered. So I'd rather be patient today. If I don't take any trades, I don't take any trades. They might wait for the Fed minutes tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I don't really think that we're going to get a lot of volume anyway. So not a bad day to set out and just see how things shake out and come back at like 1 o'clock, 2 p.m. or something like that and see where the market is. Because yesterday I can tell you with 100% certainty that even if you bought puts right at open, they were red, and they were like deeply red because I bought puts. And then they finally started coming back at like 2 p.m. I'll show you what I mean by that. So yesterday I got these 774 Ps right at open. You guys were there with me. Got them for $42. They ended up going like 100% afterwards, but like at 130, and it was in drawdown by like 75%. So it didn't matter what you did yesterday. Everyone lost because this was a slow sell. They just really dragged it out, collected premiums. And I don't want to make that same mistake and put everyone in drawdown. So I'd rather just wait for a setup and kind of take that instead. And Georgia set up from 9:47 a.m. These 7775 puts, I think they went from $630 to $3,000. You could have got the 7760s as well, or 55s, and kind of had a similar ROI. So I'd rather just wait for a setup rather than try to rush anything at open. But I do think you're setting up for a small bounce and then kind of rolling back over. The only thing that the bulls have going for them is that we're back at the levels that we were in last week, and I think there's a strong possibility that this holds. And if it does, then you're likely going to go back up. But I think you have a stronger probability of it rolling back over because everyone's worried about oil and whatever's happening in the Middle East. Now, one of the things that I don't like about playing downside is USO seems to be rejecting up here. So let's see what it does. But if it rejects up here, you're like coming back down, grabbing some buyers from this 128 area. You might get a small relief rally on the indices and ETFs and maybe the broader technology sector. And this looks like it's a double top to me. So double top, come back down. And this is when I'd be worried about the downside on ETFs and SPX and whatever else. So if I see that, I already have an alert for this. But if I see oil come back down or USO come back down to 128, I want to cut all the calls that I have open, including some of the swings that I did for October. And then I'm just going to get some USO calls for Friday because I think it's going to grind back up higher. On the 4 hours, this looks mega bullish. On the daily, it looks pretty bullish. The only downside is you technically have a higher low, right? Low, higher low, but not a higher high. So this is kind of doing this right now. It's going to come back down and then decide to go up, or maybe it'll start about head and shoulder here and kind of come back down. So this is your range to play in right now. It's not ideal, but it is there. So if you want to play calls at 126, 28, whatever, you can do that, and you buy puts up here towards 128, 127. That's a pretty easy trade. It's not hard to do. But I want to see what this does, because if this sells off, it probably will. We got a small bounce at open on SPY and SPX and QQQ, and then this will kind of go back up and then finally decide if it wants to continue higher or go lower. So that's what I see there on USO. SPY and QQQ we went over already. Micron we went over already. Some of these other names like Intel might actually run, but I did draw this like about a week ago at this point in time. And I'd rather wait till the 90 area to be hit than you have a nice inverse head and shoulder, and then I can get some longer dated calls for the end of the year. I got these 135 calls for September. These are probably going to die at open. I don't care. It's a very small size, like 4 contracts. It was at break even yesterday. Didn't sell it because I wanted to see where we'll go. But at this point in time, with everything rolling over, I'd rather just wait for an entry at 90 or maybe 92, whatever that might be, before I decide to take some calls on Intel. So I'm liking how this is shaping up. I'm just going to wait for an entry here at 92 before I decide to take some leaps on Intel. Same thing with Qualcomm. It started selling off. I cut my calls. I told you I would if they started losing 163, which it did. And we had a nice close below the 4 hour, right at like 1 p.m. or 12 p.m. I was like, all right, let me just get out of this position because I rather evaluate. It was down by like 30%. I was like, I'm just going to take the win, or not take the win, but take the small loss and see if lower area holds and maybe get something closer to out the money, like the 170 calls or the 180 calls instead of the 210s that I got originally. So let's see where that goes. This is setting up a flag of sorts, though. That's what I'm afraid of right now, is that inevitably this will kind of go up or down and that'll be aggressive. I just don't know which way yet. I'm leaning downside right now more so than anything else. But, if there's a surprise deal in the next couple of days, then everything's going to rally. So I want to see where that ends up. I do have these lot of Reddit calls. They're probably going to die, but I don't care. They're A, very inexpensive, and B, I think they're going to come back. And same thing with the silver calls. Oops. They were only $50. I only got 4 contracts, so we'll see where this ends up. But they were in the money briefly yesterday. Then we have a gap down, and I think it's going to rally back up before deciding to roll back over. Same thing with everything else, really. But on the higher time frames right now, on the 4 hour, this looks pretty bullish. Higher lows, higher highs. You have a bit of a double top, but I think it's going to break through that pretty quickly. And you have literally the exact same story on gold as well. We have a bit of a double top, came back down, probably got some buyers, and then kind of continue up towards 410, 420 is kind of the target that I got. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. Sean says if USO does not reject here, yeah, exactly. We're all just waiting to see what happens here on USO. But I do think it's likely to reject, come back down, and then kind of go back up from there. So let's see what we're in for today. But I do think you're going to get a small rally at open, and then let's see if it fades afterwards. More so than anything else, I think there's going to be a lot of buyers that kind of step in because you're literally getting the same price that you were last week. If I look at SanDisk, it filled this gap, nice. And this is literally the same price that we were in, I think it was like last week. So I do think there's going to be strong support here for companies like SanDisk and Micron, and then this will kind of continue grinding higher towards this 1820 area. Well, you don't have to rush into anything. We can just, take this one day at a time. Tesla have a very strong interest in shorting this. It's not able to get above 335. And if it's not able to do that, considering all the wick action here from some news, it'll likely come back down to 325. But it might be a slow grind. It might just take all day and you get dated out. So I might get some Friday puts, but let's see where that goes. And same thing with Meta. I might do some 1 DTE puts on this. The put wall is 550. I think you can go test that really quickly and then decide if you want to bounce up from there or not. So I might get some 550 Ps for tomorrow, probably small size on those, like 3 or 4 contracts, and see where that ends up. I just like the risk and reward. Whether it bounces here or not, I have no idea. But the 550 puts are very inexpensive for tomorrow. They're like $50 or whatever, $89. So I'll see where that ends up going. But I do have a strong interest in playing whatever George tells on SPX and SPY. Qs are on the put wall. I think you'll bounce. Here on the downward trend line before rolling back over. Beta strong short. I don't know if we're gonna get to 7,600. Maybe. Like we're down. What is it? 1% or 1.25% or something like that. Hold on, let me just go check. Okay, from all-time highs, you're opening up like right around here. You're like down 1.25%, 1.3 call it. So like we had an explosive move. We went from the 7,300 area to 7,800 in a matter of a week. So you're up like 7% in a week, and you're down 1.25. That's a pretty healthy pullback, all things considering. So I'm not necessarily stressed about it. The world is not on fire, even though people want to believe that. Everyone's panicking. I'm of the mindset like, hey, this will give me some good opportunities to get some longer dated swings. And you see me do this multiple times where I'll go and get these, for example, I was in these 750 calls for the end of the year since like back in March, I think it was, back in April. And so I got these for $950 average, and they were up like quite a bit. I think the highest I got these sold them for was like $2,500. So there you go. I had a nice return there out of 80% of those. I still have a couple of runners, oddly enough. And then I did the same thing with the 770s, and I ended up selling these as well for like 100% plus gain. I still have a couple of runners, to be honest, and we'll see where that goes. So whenever the market sells off by like 2% or whatever it might be, and we get a pullback, I just get some longer dated calls. And I kid you not, 9 out of 10 times it works out in my favor. So that's kind of the way to go here. Just buy the panic, but give it some time. I might start some March 2027 positions for the 800 strike, maybe the 810 calls. I'm not even going to look at them until we start getting to like 780, 790, 800 on SPY in the next couple months. Because the annual expected move for SPY, just so everyone's aware, it's about 800. So we're almost there. We got there like almost a couple weeks ago, 778. We tapped out and then came back down. But, the way that the daily chart is looking here on SPY is like it's just a minor pullback and a series of higher lows and higher highs. So the daily is pretty bullish still. The weekly is even more so bullish. Like, yeah, you have a small pullback here over the course of the week, and this will likely just go back up eventually. I just don't know when. So I'd rather just give it some time. I usually don't add to these positions just so people know. I just take them, I forget about them, and I check back like 4 or 5 months later. In this case, it's actually just a month. And they're magically up like some amount of percentage. So I would like doing that. I might do the same thing now with the 800 calls. There goes Micron without us. Classic. Meta, you're going to get a small bounce at open and then probably roll over, and same with Qs and SPY. So pretty good chance that we have a rally at open, and then we'll see where this ends up going. But on SPX, I'm just going to start whatever George tells me to get, and I'm just going to do that instead. I loaded up this account with 3K yesterday, so I'm just going to full part the entire thing in whenever the max conviction play is. If it's not max conviction, I have zero interest in playing it, because what happens a lot of times is the king node rolls up or down, and this is a pretty good indicator, but they load the contracts before it happens. So I'd rather just wait for the max conviction plays and just take those instead, and they've been doing pretty well. I think there's like a 95% win rate there. I'll show you the one from yesterday that he said like at 9:47 a.m. Here you go. Max size, full conviction, 80%, 82%. And the reason this was 82, just so people know, is we just didn't have volume. And I'll show you the volume that these contracts were hit for. There you go. Like less than $1 million compared to the 40 billion that we're used to see on average. So A, this was chump change, and B, the conviction wasn't as high, so I didn't take them. But in hindsight, I probably should have taken these because, compared to the volume that we got on SPY and SPX yesterday, that was the best we're going to get. So let's see where we end up. But I'm literally just going to size up on these max conviction plays from George. I think he's saying calls right now. Actually, can't remember. Yeah, there you go. 7,900 calls. There's a lot of dealer exposure upside. I don't think it's worth taking the 7,900 calls, obviously, because they're pretty far out the money. But I think directionally, he's probably right that we're going to bounce it open and then kind of roll back over at like 10 a.m. as we normally do. And the thing I really like about Micron is it gives you like 4 different entries at any given point in time. Yesterday, the 1040 calls that I got at open, they went up 100%, then down, then break even, then went up 100% and 200% eventually. Ended up selling all of them at 200, and I left like one runner for kicks, which ended up going worthless. But Micron usually gives you like 4 chances every single day to play either side and get like 100%, 200% move. Whether that happens or not today, I don't know, but it is high probability, and I really like playing this because of that reason. So if you miss it the first time, don't worry, it'll come back down and we'll get 2 more chances effectively to play that ticker. Let's see if this area holds. I think it will. I honestly think it's going to hold pretty nicely, and then it'll likely bounce up, fill this gap, and then I'll get some puts on that for tomorrow. So let's see where we go. Market opens in about 3 minutes. I do like Palantir as well. I might just short this, to be honest. I have a long position for October, I think it's the end of September, for the 200 calls. We'll see if they come back. I'll cut them if we lose 170. At that point in time, that thesis is dead. But as long as 170 holds, this will likely rally up. But if it comes back up to like 178, I'm going to get some puts for this just to see if that thesis works out. We keep rejecting 178 so far, so I think this is your likely opportunity to short Palantir. And you're on strong support at this point in time at 170. So I have zero interest in shorting it here. But if it does rally up, then I'll get some puts for the end of the week or whatever it might be. And USO didn't move as much as I wanted it to. I was hoping that we would get like 140. Oh, no, there it goes. I would get to like 140 by the end of the day. Yesterday we didn't. And so I do think that this will likely now just break out if it doesn't stop here. But we'll see where this all goes. There's really no rush to be in anything. I'm just going to watch for the first 15 minutes, wait for an apex sprint and get that instead. And anything on Meta, if it rallies up, just short the hell out of it. QQ, you're right at the put wall at 720. Let's see if it bounces up there. And I do think you have a high probability setup forming right now on buying puts. I just don't know when. It might be like 10 minutes away or 20 minutes away or half an hour away. No clue. So you will see. And yeah, the only high conviction trade from George yesterday was puts. That was it. And they didn't even close them. We had a partial unwind yesterday on the put side, but it wasn't that big. Let me just go find it so you can kind of see what I mean. They ended up unwinding a lot more of the calls, and then finally at like 12:17 they started partially unwinding their puts. So 85% they unwound it, and then 40 whatever the remainder is they left. And even those puts, they ended up bleeding by 43% there. So it didn't matter what side you were on yesterday, you kind of got equally theated. So I don't want to repeat that again. I'd rather just wait to get these at a 43% discount later in the day than buy them at open. So we'll see where that ends up. But if we do see a nice apex sprint right at open, I'll just take a couple, see where that ends up, sell most of them at for 100%, and then I'll leave a couple of runners to see where that goes. And we'll see where things kind of rally up or kind of shake out here. There's a lot of panic on the street though, so I want to buy that panic and just give it some time, maybe till March 2027 or something like that. Because I love buying panic. That's kind of the name of the game. Okay, let's see what this opening drive does. Yeah, give me a rally at open, and then we'll figure out if we want to do some puts. Wow, that is a steep gap down. It's $50 right there. Fucking A. And I knew those Intel calls would die. Bagged by Neek, once again. But if I sign something like Microsoft, you can get a 90% discount, and then they're magically up like 20% 2 months later. There goes Micron. There's the bounce. There's the bounce. There's the bounce. There's the bounce. And SPX is lagging like a crazy man. They do this every time. They just like trap retail in the first 15-20 minutes. And then it starts rolling over afterwards. I'm going to save my buying power for getting puts towards the downside. But if you do want to scalp calls, you can probably do that now. I just rather just save my money and wait. At least on the flip side, the implied volatility has increased, so we'll see a bit more action in the next couple of days. If you want to take something, I'd rather play SPY, get like the 772s, because you can get like 3 of these or 4 of these for $40. Oops. What the fuck is this? Never seen that before. Okay. Oh, let's take profit. Yeah, whatever. Because you can get these for like $40, so 38 at this point in time, and just see where these end up. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then whatever. But then you have a high probability of shorting this down the line or in the next 20 minutes, basically. We'll see where this goes. I gotta change that thing. Hold on. Let me just find out where I've set it. Options. No, fuck off. There goes Meta 550. Let's see what it does at 550. Because if it bounces here, then maybe we have some calls. If it doesn't, it's just going to nuke it to like 500 basically. I wonder what the Micron calls are worth for tomorrow. Let's just go check. Because usually when we get 1,000 calls, oh, they're quite expensive. Damn. Nah, not worth it. Rather wait for 0 DTE. Everything peaking except for Micron, oddly enough. That's holding pretty nicely there. This is literally the opening low from Friday. Watching position. What are you watching, buddy? What are you watching? There you go. Tesla put's coming in. That's what I thought. Huh. 724 calls on QQQ. Weird. That's a vibe. So let's see if USO rejected. I think it did. Yep. Cool. So rally is inbound. Oh, we can also watch IWM on the 2 minute. Usually gives us a good signal on what's going to happen next. For Micron, if you wanted something, I would get the Friday calls instead. I would get the 1020s or maybe the 1050s. Oh, they're the same price as the 1000s for tomorrow. Never mind. It's not worth it. Nope. Not worth it at all. Hey, look at that. Approaching the put wall. Expect a bounce. Boom. Good job, George. Damn, he's good. Did the market just freeze or is it just me? I think it's just me. Watching position. Oh, is Trump on right now? Well, what the fuck are we doing then? I'm surprised oil isn't bouncing on that. I feel like I should have. What's it doing on the 5 minute? Probably nothing. Nope. Lower highs. No wonder the price isn't going anywhere. We got the world leader here talking about stuff. Surprised how well Micron's holding up. I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I kind of had a feeling it was going to hold here, but I wasn't expecting it to do this. Ah, there you go. Starting to go green on USO. That's cool. If you wanted a cheap hedge, the USO 140 calls. Hold on, let me just find it. The USO 140 calls for Friday are pretty inexpensive. They're $50. If you wanted a hedge, that's the one to get. I would not be buying puts on SPY because A, they're expensive. If you do the Friday puts, for example, even if you got the 766, you're spending $240 on those. Okay, meanwhile, let's go see what healthcare's doing. Let's go look at Oscar, my favorite stock. Might actually be a good call entry, but we'll see. UNH, probably the same. Yeah, I started making higher lows at least since yesterday. What about financials? What's JPM doing right now? I like this wick. This is a great wick. Doesn't mean it doesn't roll over, but high probability that just keeps going higher. That's a long wick though. Holy crap. Whoa, look at that. We saw it in real time. Cool. XLF should be doing the exact same thing, yep. And same thing with Citigroup, Bank of America. Some of the airlines might be like pretty easy shorts, like UAL. Yep. What the fuck is Meta doing right now? Hold on, let me just go check. Wow, there's... Okay, let's see if it comes to 548. And if it bounces here, then I might get them a lot of calls. If it doesn't, then nuke it. Tesla, it's going to do Tesla things. They fake out retail in the first 15 minutes, and then this is your upper ADR. If it closes above it, great, calls. I don't think it will. I think it's going to roll back over. I'm surprised NVIDIA's not doing anything. Yeah, just rejecting the same spot as always. Look at that, bounced right on that DTL. Maybe I missed it by like a little bit, but whoa. These lines work, yo. Well, let me just fix this. Boom, now it's perfect. No one saw that. No one saw me miss that line. Never happened. Apple puts my pay? Yeah, probably. I don't know what the hell Apple's been doing. It's just been bouncing around, accumulating for the last like week at this point in time. Same thing with Google, honestly. I don't know what this is doing. This is just accumulation. Although I do like it's holding here. I still want to buy anything on Google because I think there's still off software and semis maybe, or maybe even memory. That's what SMH is doing. Probably bouncing at this point in time. Yep. What about Korea? EWY. This is kind of in no man's land. I don't have a level here. So I'd rather just watch and wait till it comes back to like 172. Get some calls or get some puts at 180 if that comes to fruition.
KORU puts are probably going to pay like heck.
I'm game. How much are they? Let's go check. Oh, fuck. Full size. Damn it, buddy. You forcing my hand here. Okay, let's go see what happens. Should I get the 7725s or 30s? What do you say? Oh, no, he's saying SPY. What? He doesn't have any SPX signals. Oh, no, he did. Okay, cool. I'm going to get the 40s instead. How about that? I'll get like 4 of these at 290 maybe. 285 if I can get it. And we'll see where this goes. Fuck, no, the premium just raised up. I'm not chasing it here. You know what I'll do instead? I'll cancel this one. And what I'm going to do is get the 45s instead, because I can get 5 of these now for 240. 7745C at 240 per con at here. Watching position. I mean, chase it. You're at break even. Koru puts. Oh yeah, that's what I was looking at. Koru puts for Friday. The puts that I like. The 20 puts are not bad for $1.20. From George's max conviction play. Might be in drawdown for a bit. We'll see where it ends up. Wow, Pia just stalled like crazy. What the hell? Did bowling bow already? It's only been 15 minutes, not even. It's been 14 minutes. Unless Trump's saying something. I don't know what he's saying. You better not have flipped. Fuck. You know what? I'm gonna close these. I was bought them cheaper, if anything. I'm gonna watch one more minute, see what happens here.
I had told Sean, by the way, I grabbed some 299 IWM for Friday.
299 puts.
Yeah. Hedging.
They are. Oh, it's the 21st, right? I think so.
Because statistically, it's a trend day. And I've learned very painfully, don't fight it.
Fair enough. They're only $72, so not bad. Okay, let's see if this has follow through or not. I might get the 77 30 40s as I originally wanted. I got like, what the fuck's he saying? Oh no, they rolled a note down. Okay, well, we'll see where this goes. The question is, do I want to buy it here or do I want to buy it puts instead? I can't decide. This is suspicious. They rolled it down. If you want to buy puts, the one that I would get is probably going to be the 7690, but it's so expensive. Holy shit. Maybe the 85s, 80s. Legit no volume. But I do think IWM might bottom out here, so we'll see. I like the QQQ put hedges that Easy's talking about. The 712 for Friday. At 270, not bad. Watching position. Micron's going to give you a second entry. I'd rather just wait for that. Why is he long there? I just don't get that. If I can get these at 2, I'm happy with the risk. How about that? He did say get out of the play because the loading on the downside, but I don't see the volume though, so I don't know. This might work for a short amount of time and then finally go back over. There it is. There's a small bottom. As far as low as 180. Oh, cool. Cool beans. I think I'll get filled. I'm not worried. What's the support level for Moo? Technically 0. But I think 957 will hold. That's the area to watch. If it doesn't hold, cut the calls and get put instead.
So besides 299 for Friday, what was it? I think XLE was doing some weird stuff, which is
XLE?
Yeah.
That's a pretty cheap hedge too. You can get the 64 calls. Well, at least US will reject it. That's kind of nice. So we have some hope for a rally here.
I currently have quite a bit of a bearish position right now.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea to be a bear.
I'm in some 302. I'm in some 302s for today on IWM 302 puts, and boom, we're in the money. Very nice. Also some 7685s.
7685. What?
Yeah, but puts, but my entry on those was about 450.
Watching position. Why is Micron holding so good? I don't get that.
My entry. So the thing is, Hawkeye on IWM, I'm holding some 299s for Friday. Those are pretty cheap, and on the 302s, my average is not that great. It was. I've been trying to go in and out of them. What was it? 49 cents.
You're up to 57 on those. Nice. Watching position. Dumpy. Yeah, probably dumps. Do we get a bounce on Meta? Nope. It's below the put wall. That's not ideal. What about Microsoft? I wonder what that's doing. Probably fuck all. Yeah, just doing nothing. Really no movement.
Here we go, IWM.
Oh,
Come on.
Palantir held. That's interesting. Does the Palantir gamma exposure change towards the downside, Sean? 187.5. No way it's going to get to 187.5 by the end of the week. Can't even get above 175 and hold. I might just cut these calls, but I think they'll come back. I don't know. Hard to tell. I will say this is the smallest range on SPY I've ever seen. $8. I'll tell you what, the puts aren't doing much better either. The premiums on those are collapsing. The IWM puts that Timmy got went from 49 to 60.
Actually, 70.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, there's 60 now. You were too early on Micron egg. Just wait for the second entry. If you wanted a call entry, like there's one coming up at 10. And now you're at break even on those puts, Timmy.
I'm going in and out of these, so.
Oh, nice. There's also an expiration tomorrow and OPEX on Friday, and we got a Fed meeting tomorrow, I think. So they might just save the volume for that, but I don't know. Oh, sorry, it's Fed minutes tomorrow, not a meeting. We're stuck in orb across the board, so nothing happening. Nothing happens at 10, I'm just going to call it. And it's gone. Yeah, US is holding. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. There goes Micron. Let's see if it holds at 10. I actually don't think it will anymore. I don't think this is going to hold. If we lose Micron, they're going to sell everything. They will literally sell everything. I'm surprised the put premiums aren't actually moving that much. What the fuck? The IWM puts are at break even right now. What is going on? Oh, that's why, because it's going up. Let's see what the 10 a.m. algo does. Why are we getting a pump here? Why? Why? Why is that holding? The put premium just dropped like crazy. The only thing I can think of is that they're shaking on retail from buying puts, but I don't know. Something just happened. Why is it going green? Sean says they added gamma squeeze on SPX. Explain that, Sean. Watching position. Oh, yeah. Above 711, 7115 is going to squeeze. I already know. They'll do this gap fill here. I just need to see it close above, and I'll keep the calls. If it doesn't close above, I'm cutting the calls. Sean says 7115 is bigger than the floor. I believe you. What's the flow right now? 770, right? 770? Oh, 7690 is the floor. Okay. I tell you what, the put premiums are going nowhere. They're dropping right now, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're still second over about 10. I'm taking the day off. Can't do much. It's trying to close above. It's trying real hard. Okay, we got one more minute. We'll see where this goes. They really killed the volume, huh? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wait for tomorrow. It's not ideal. I don't like that rejection on IWM. That spells trouble here.
There's a lot of funky stuff happening right now in the Strait of Hormuz and in with the ECB and specifically with Germany right now, booking a lot of people.
Yeah, they're taking over ships and stuff, right?
Well, specifically the Germany stuff is actually it's raising alarm bells from Frankfurt to Dublin, all the way to Liechtenstein and Geneva, which is Germany. But the thing is, Germany paid the highest they have for any yield for a bond issuance since 2011. And that's a very big deal because Germany is probably one of the physically is one of the most conservative nations when it comes to financial management. Like Germany literally had to go through this whole parliamentary procedural process for them to get rid of debt breaks when it came to defense and national infrastructure. And when Germany, the largest economy on the European mainland, is having issues financially.
Damn.
And demographic. Yeah, you said?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, basically, that means there's a lot of uncertainty because after U.S. Treasuries, there's been huge demand for AAA rated bonds or AA rated bonds from entities that we know that are safe. So that means Canada, because foreign investors want safety and they're trying to diversify out of U.S. assets. So that means Germany, that means Canada, that means Netherlands, Australia, New Zealand, and some other higher rated nations.
Makes sense. I'll tell you what, these put premiums are not going anywhere. Neither are the call premiums. I think we're just going to get stuck and chucked up all day.
IWM calls, IWM premiums are moving actually a little bit. I saw them dip to around 41, currently hovering 40, 41, currently hovering around 46, now at around 0.48.
Yeah.
So you are getting some movement. It just kind of depends where. Just have to be
good got to be quick and get these like
maybe
20,
not.
30% gains and move on.
I would say even 15.
Oh, yeah. There's the pop. See, at 10 a.m. was your entry on calls from Micron. It wasn't 9:30 a.m. I'm liking this volume on the upside, but not a lot. It's always 10 a.m. for Micron. I don't know why. This algorithm's lazy, I guess. Fucking sleeping in. There goes Palantir. Luckily, no one shorted there.
But yeah, don't just pay attention to the Fed folks. Also pay attention to what the ECB is doing, European Central Bank.
I wonder what the 10 year's doing right now, or the 30 year.
Yeah.
Jesus, this is insane. Yeah, on the flip side, the calls are green by 15%. If you want to take the win, please do. There's 20. And back to 10. I think George might have been right just early. The no volume thing really messes them up, doesn't it? There's your... All right, nothing's going to move. I might just call it. I'm going to hold the calls and see where they end up. I already got limit sales in place for 100%. If it gets there, if it gets there. If not, I'm just going to take the win at 20, 30, whatever the number is. And if we get chopped up all day, the best thing to do is to buy time. If you're doing hedges, don't do them with SPY. At least I don't think that's the right move. Get some USO calls instead. You can get the IWM puts. They're actually pretty cheap for Friday right now. And same with QQQ puts. They are very inexpensive compared to everything else. But you're holding here at 720 on QQQ, which I really like because that's the put wall. If it flips 720 clean, you're likely going to carve out at least a temporary higher low. And maybe you can take care of this upper ADR here at 725 on Qs. So we'll see where that ends up. But I'm going to hold them and see kind of where it goes. If it doesn't move by 10:30, I'm just going to call it a day and not even check until MOC. And whatever George says for MOC, I'm just going to take that instead because the volume has sufficiently dried out at this point in time. There's just no movement anywhere. Oh, let me just go check what Micron calls are worth right now, just out of curiosity. And if you wanted something for Micron, your best bang for your buck is the 1,000 calls for tomorrow at 400. But again, you're looking for like a 20, 30% gain. Get the hell out because I don't see the volume for any support. PLTR, I have zero interest in chasing it here. Whenever it gets to 175, it rejects. Above it, sure, ping me. But I'm not buying it here by any means because I'm risking whatever it is, $200 for a dollar move. Not even, it's like 40-cent move. So I have zero interest in playing this right now. I knew this was going to hold, but I didn't get the calls. But if it closes above this, great, the game is on. If it doesn't, you're coming back down to 170 because it's been accumulating this range for the last like 2 weeks. I might take some Micron calls for Friday, and I'll take the 1020 calls once again. They're about $600, so I'm gonna see where that ends up. But I have zero interest in buying it here. I'm just gonna wait for another entry because I think we'll get another one soon.
By the way, anyone who held the...
Good.
I'm sorry, you were saying?
No, go ahead.
Anyone who held the IWM puts, we are now on potential re-entry. You're now at about 0.52.
Yeah, so you went from 40 to 52. Not bad. Pretty good gains, all things considering. Considering we're still stuck in orb across the board, except for Palantir. I wonder what the hell Intel's doing at this point.
Yeah, what I like today, especially on days like this, I know we have a lot of people who like SPY, SPX, QQQ on here, but on days like this, and I know Sky also likes to play IWM, legitimately on these days, IWM typically has among the easiest price actions to read because if it's already chopping and it's already volatile, you may as well go to the index that has those underlying characteristics. IWM does that.
Fair enough. And there's that rejection on Tesla that I was talking about this morning. It's going to come to the upper ADR, sweep that, and then come back down. So if you wanted puts on Tesla, like this is your entry. But I'm just going to watch. I saw these calls. They're up 20%-ish. CL for MOC. I'm not seeing any price action here, to be honest. Nothing's moving. UNH is not moving. GPM is not moving. It's all stuck in an orb, to be honest. Look at this. Just stuck in an orb. SPY and SPX stuck in an orb. IWM, if you look at the 15-minute, you're still technically stuck in an orb. Here's your orb. So there's no movement. If there isn't any movement by 10:30, I'm going to call it a day for the calls anyways. Or maybe just take the win at 20-30% and move on with my life. If I do see another Apex print, I will post it. Right now, we just had the one come in from George at, 9:40. But he's set to get out of it. And partly the reason is they're starting to build puts, but I don't know if they are necessarily. Because you can't tell if it's a buy or sell. But I do know they're buying a lot of puts for like a couple days out. So they have a lot of puts coming in for 821. A lot of puts coming in for 819, which is tomorrow. And then we did get a small relative burst here on the upside, but not a lot of volume. It's like 3,000 lots. Anything above 6K lots, it's pretty good. But at this point in time, the volume isn't there to support anything. So even if you got puts, you're up a little bit. If you got calls, you're up a little bit. They're just going to chop it up all day. So I'll see y'all later.